All right, so we're here with Razor Rob McCullough. And Rob, one thing I want to hit on from the fighter's perspective is you're getting ready to fight one guy, and all of a sudden they, injuries or what have you, what illness, anything happens, and now all of a sudden you're fighting a new guy. How do you deal with that? You're all focused, and all of a sudden you got to change up everything.
It's some guys say they have a game plan when they go into the cage to fight, and other guys say they just go in there. Fighting it's a reaction. I mean, you can have a game plan written down, but something doesn't go your way. What happened to your game plan? It goes out the window. So when in the early stages of this, when everybody first started, no one just started fighting there in the UFC. You got to start these smaller shows, and that tends to happen. It happened to me quite a bit, just because I was training with Tito and all these other guys, and I came from Team Punishment. My very first fight, I had guys who didn't want to fight because he's from Team Punishment. I knew nothing on the grappling or anything else. So you can't really prepare for a fighter per se. I mean, as you first begin, you can't. So I mean, I look back to my days when I started. As I've progressed and I've gotten better, and I fought in the big organization WEC. I can get a tape of the guy before I fight. I can watch him. I know his style. I may even know him personally. So I know, some things about him that, okay, I can work on this. He might be good at doing takedowns. He might be good at judo. He might be good at boxing. Stuff like that, and it helps to be able to know your game plan, so you say. But when they switch an opponent on you, yeah, it's a little frustrating. But when we first, we all built our ways to get here, that's how it happened. You couldn't really...
So you just go back to that mindset? You
just go back to that mindset. It's a fight, and get in there and do the most damage. Don't leave it to the judges, and get a nice paycheck and go home and start all over again.
There you go. But back in the day, it was a nice paycheck.
Yeah, back in the day, it was more, I want to get this stress off my mind. I feel better, and I didn't really want to tell my friends or my girlfriend's parents or anything about what I did, because they're like, you're a freak. Oh, what? You're in the WWF? I'm like, no, I'm a personal trainer. I just said that. I'm a personal trainer.
That makes it easier.
Right.
Now, since we last talked, you got married.
I've gotten married, yes.
It's what, a couple weeks now? And
yes, I got married October 18th.
Right in the middle of training camp? You decided to get married.
Yep. My wife was pretty adamant, very structured. She had the date set and everything. It was her parents' anniversary the same day. So her father, as a minister, he married us. It was a cool gathering of family and a little bit of really close friends. So it was cool.
And the baby's due, when's the baby due?
Yes, my baby is due, his due date's February 19th.
And that's Cruz, right?
Cruz Alexander McCullough.
There you go.
Yeah, and he's already kicking in there. It's pretty cool. It trips me out because I never thought in a million years I'd be in this position, getting paid to do something I love to do, have a beautiful wife, be married and have a baby boy on his way.
And ironically, he's kicking a lot, huh?
And ironically, he's kicking. I go to bed every night with my head on her stomach, and I can just feel him kicking me. It's like we're doing pads already. It's pretty cool.
And there's a lot going on. The WEC, I talked to their president. I think what's his name?
Reed Harris.
Reed Harris.
Yes.
And he's saying they're going to go a show every month. They're going big, even though they lost DirecTV. They're just going to keep pumping. They're trying to build this. Dana White told me WEC's going nowhere. They're committed. They're going to make this thing big. How does that make you feel? Because there was a lot of speculation there a few months ago, and now they're coming out hard and strong saying WEC's going nowhere.
It's I got a lot of stuff going on in my life. Training for this fight is my number one priority. Being a father and a husband is my second now. And it's crazy for me to say that. I was the party guy for so long that went to strip clubs and was synonymous for doing that kind of stuff. But, that's a chapter I closed in my life, and I wouldn't change anything in my life for it. It was cool. It made me who I am today. That being said, people ask, are you going on a honeymoon? And I'm like, yeah, I'm having a honeymoon. November 18th, at the Palms in the cage. I'm having a honeymoon on my next opponent. So after that, I can get back and do my thing. But the thing that really took the stress off of having a family and realizing, hey, this is, I always said I fight for fun. I didn't want to make this my job. This is my job. This is my career. And now I've gone from, being that kid who slept on everyone's couch and kind of did, went to the gym for fun to, I'm raising a family and, on my ability to fight. And it's awesome. I'm pretty stoked on it. But UFC and WEC just had a summit, and they said it was mandatory. I had to fly out to Vegas this last Tuesday. They flew me there in the middle of the night, and I'm like, hey, I'm fighting in 2 weeks. I have to go do this and break in my training camp. They said, yeah, it's mandatory. We got people flying in from around the world. So I flew in. I had no idea what to expect. And they sat us down at Red Rock Casino, which is a really nice casino. Gave me this huge suite. I'm like, am I sharing this with a bunch of guys or what? Had this really cool suite. I was stoked. Get up in the morning, they gave me an itinerary, and it was from 8 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, and we spoke to DEA agents about conducting ourselves, outside of the cage, and how, kids out there, they're looking at us now. Hey, we're not just some guys fighting shows. We're the elite of the elite, of mixed martial arts. This is the fastest growing sport in the world, and people are looking at us and going, hey, this is what you guys want to do. So they're talking about, don't using steroids, conducting yourself in a proper manner. Then they went into other stuff about doing your taxes. What are you going to do with yourself after you fight? About social networking, as far as Twitter, MySpace, Facebook.
They did this with every fighter.
With every fighter under contract for UFC and WC, and it was so awesome, and it was such a relief to know that. And Dana and Lorenzo were there too. They closed it with a meeting, a Q&A too, and it was so awesome to know these guys really had our back. He said, "Who's boxing fan here?" And the guys raised their hand, and he goes, "Okay, for example." He goes, you think Muhammad Ali's making money now that he's not fighting? No. He goes, I want you guys to do that. He's like, I have you guys' back. He goes, I want you guys to go out there, and the bigger you make your name and brand, the bigger this sport gets, the bigger we get. So it was kind of cool. Like they're talking about taking other avenues, about not spending all your money when you get it. Making sure you pay your taxes, because we're going to be in different tax brackets now. Most of us didn't make any money.
I never heard of a fight promoter.
It was awesome. It was like
teaching the fighters how to.
It blew my mind. I was so happy, and I kind of sat back and I went, wow. It felt like job security.
Yeah.
I was like, God, that's awesome. These guys, it's something, a conversation like I guess your dad would have with you,
Yeah.
And me not having that, being able to sit down with a father figure and have that conversation was pretty cool. To sit there and look around and go, what, I'm so blessed that I get to do something I love to do, which is fight. Most of the time when you do that, you either get in trouble, get sent to the principal's office, or you go to jail. But now I got people that stop me in the airport and, hey, want to shake my hand and ask for a picture, and I'm like, I can't get paid. I get paid to do this. Well, I have a family I'm raising on it, and now my bosses are making sure that they want to take care of us. It was pretty cool.
So like I was just saying, I remember talking to fighters, and they get their paycheck, it's gone by the time
that's what he was saying.
They step out of the casino.
That's what he was saying. He goes, hey, for example, the guy that was sitting in front of me just won the last UFC. He won Fight of the Night and Knockout of the Night. So on top of what he already made for his win and his show pay, he also won $120,000.
Pat Barry, yeah.
Yeah. He had a broken hand, mind you, but well worth that kind of coin. Yeah. I think, anyway. Some people differ. But he was talking about how he diversified everything. He didn't just go put that money in the bank, or he split it all up between bonds and all this other stuff, and he made sure he put money away so he could pay his taxes, because literally he didn't make that money. He made about half of it. Yeah. He's gonna have to pay taxes, and then went over that. Where he's like, most fighters get so excuse my French, screwed, because they get all this money and then they blow it all.
Yeah.
And we did like okay, if you made $1 million at a fight, you got to pay taxes, you got to pay your trainers, you got to pay whoever. He's like, you're only making about $300,000 out of $1 million fight. Yeah. He's like, so think about that. A lot of guys aren't thinking about that, and it was cool because everyone in there, I think half the guys in there were just kind of stoked to be surrounded. I was in awe because I was seeing the guys from the Ultimate Fighter TV show, and I watched the show overnight with my wife, so I was kind of like starstruck. I was like, yeah, that's the guy, this is the one guy. So it was pretty cool. I was really happy to see that they have gone that far. And
so it kind of showed that they're not just a fly-by-night organization.
Yeah.
They're planning for future stuff.
They're putting their roots down. They're laying the cement foundation for the future. They showed on, it was pretty much a PowerPoint presentation, but it wasn't like a boring one. I was really into it. Yeah. Then again, I'm a little older than kind of some of the guys, so I was maybe it was just me trying to be an entrepreneur too. I was really listening and wow, that's pretty cool. They showed the NFL and how their stats were lined up with UFC's. And look how long NFL's been around. 50 years or something like that. It's been around for a long time. And look where UFC's at. They're right, almost. They're up there. And we're a new organization. We're gonna surpass these guys. They're like, it's ridiculous on how fast this sport is growing. They're like, if you're a boxing fan and you wanted to watch, say, Mayweather and Ricky Hatton fight, some people in America want to watch it, some people in England want to watch it. About that, no one really cares. This was an example Dana said, and he goes, UFC, it's global. People fight, and people around the world are watching it. It's in so many different countries. People, it's on the internet. Everybody's talking about it. There's guys from all around the country, around the world. So it's kind of cool how fast this sport has gone. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm, get to sit in the middle of this and be a part of it.
So it's kind of like one of those, like when you see the corporations and they go on a retreat,
Yeah.
This was a retreat for like every fighter.
It was. You know, I'm going to be totally honest. This is what I felt like. It sounds really cheesy. I felt like that movie Top Gun. Sitting in there with all the ace pilots, and because they started off the thing with, you guys are the elite of the elite. You know, we got there. And I kind of started thinking back, you know, I don't think about it too much. You know, I'm going to blow my own horn. But, you know, I get paid to do something I love to do. And I'm just excited I get to do it. And having fun doing it. And then I get paid on top of it. It's awesome. But to get sit down and surrounded by other guys who I get to watch and admire and go, wow. And then, you know, how these guys tell us we're the elite of the elite. I was just like, that was kind of cool.
The Top Gun moment.
Right. I was like, I'm going to go fly a jet.
Did you guys do any of the, you know, stand there and fall backwards and they catch you?
Those trust drills?
Yeah.
No. I was waiting, though. I wasn't quite sure. I was like, what are we doing? We're going to fight each other?
I know.
Are we looking for sponsors? What are we doing? I didn't know. And then at the end of the day, I was like, wow. You know, I called my wife. I'm like, that was really cool. I was kind of excited to explain to her what it was. I'm like, these guys really care about us. You know, they want to know, you know, we have a good financial future. They want to, you know, tell us, you know, give us steps on how to get, you know, bigger names. It was cool.
The way you're saying that, you're all surrounded, though. But I was reading somebody's Facebook. I can't remember. And he's like, I'm sitting next to the guy I'm going to fight in 2 weeks. Oh, it was Joker. Joker said that.
Oh, yeah. I saw Joker there, too.
He said, I'm sitting next to the guy that I'm going to fight in January. It sounded funny, though.
Man, you know what? It's crazy because I hold no personal, you know, nothing against anybody I fight. You know, when I get in there, though, it's game on. You know, I'm shake your hand and, you know, meet your mom and stuff. But when they lock that cage door, I hate that guy and I want nothing else than to finish him. You know, and when the bell's rung and it's done, it's over. Hey, I'll buy that guy a drink. Let's go. Hey, you want to meet my kids? You know, I'm down. Like, when it's done to me. And that's kind of the way I think it should be. The thing is, it's kind of rough because you befriend a lot of these guys, and if they're in your weight class, the first thing you're thinking is, oh man, I might fight this guy one day. You know, this could potentially be an opponent. But I mean, what are you gonna like they said, you're the elite of the elite. So I
think the attitude that you and Donald Cerrone have is, that's the way it should be. You guys, hey, you leave it all in the ring, but then afterwards,
right?
Hey,
I fought the guy. The guy. I'm a huge fan. I'd love to fight the guy again. Can't wait to do it. But you know, what can you do? I mean, you're gonna fight the guy, so you can't be, I hate everyone. You know, I can't talk to the guy. Now I'm gonna fight him. Hey, you know what? Settle it in the cage, and then, you know, go have some drinks afterwards and call it a day.
Well, that sounds like a good plan, my man. Thanks again, as usual.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.